So, again, we're going to talk about adding and subtracting versus multiplying. I'm hoping you notice there's a difference between these two problems. So add and subtract, it may not tell you to do that. The directions are probably just going to say simplify. So we would, for these, it would just say simplify the polynomials. So it may not say you need to add or subtract or multiply these. So we have to talk about how to do that. Now, the ones on the left, bless you, are subtraction because there's a subtraction between them. The one on the right is multiplication because there's nothing between those two. So noticing the difference between these is really, really important. So the add and subtract, I think these are easier. Add and subtract, I just distribute whatever sign is there. And so we're going to distribute this negative, which is like a -1. But I'm only distributing to that second half of the problem. So the first half's going to stay as it is. But the second half's going to become a -x squared, a positive 7x, and a -4. Now all we're doing is we're adding and subtracting to combine the like terms. So we're going to add or subtract coefficients. So what I mean by that is we're going to look for the like terms and put those together. So in this case, like -5x to the second is going to go with a -x to the second. But notice I said just add and subtract the coefficients. Don't change the exponents at all. So -5, -1 is a -6, and it's going to be x to the second because we're just adding or subtracting. This -3 and positive 7 is going to be a positive 4x. And positive 2 and -4 is going to be a -2. So that's our adding and subtracting. So watch out for that sign between those terms. So there could be a plus sign as well. We just distribute the plus in, which really doesn't change anything. Whereas the second one is multiplying, and this is where either we're going to use FOIL or box method. So FOIL or box method here. And I'll do both because I know that some of you guys like one way and then others of you do the other. So I'll do both. So I'll do my 3x plus 2 up here, 7x minus 4. You do not need to know how to do this both ways. You can do it one way or the other. So if I did FOIL, I'll do first, multiply 7x by 3x. That's going to be 21x to the second. Outer, 3 times -4, so -12x. Same thing here. Inner, I get 14x. And then last, I get -8. Now once we're done with that, we're not quite actually done, there typically will be like terms. So there's some like terms we can put together. Now the 21x to the second is just going to stay as it is. I have -12, positive 4, so that's going to be a positive 2. And then the variable just comes along with it because we're adding. So just like on the last problem, we don't change the exponents when we're adding and subtracting. And then just -8. Okay? my plan for the rest of the week is chapter 9. The second half would be on Thursday. Chapter 10 would be Friday, and then Tuesday of next week, we kind of have a chance to go over any questions. We can check our work. I'll put an answer key up, make sure everything's going okay, and just kind of make sure we're all good to go. But again, if you're struggling along the way, like we have time to work in here, I'm trying to give you guys that time. So please use it, like not getting your work done and saying, I don't know how to do this. Ask a friend, ask me, ask Ms. Miller, whatever like makes sense to do. So the one I want to show you guys that's a really commonly missed one is, we call this like the dead puppy one. So if I said to simplify 3x minus 1 squared. So I'm just kind of adding another question in somewhere if you have some space. Do you guys remember what we need to do with this? So we just talked about the exponent rules yesterday. And so it could be easy to mess this up because you want to apply the exponent rule to it. What are we doing in this kind? We have like parentheses like that squared. You guys remember? Anyone remember? Yep. Not nope, it's not multiplied by 2, yep. Yeah, we have to rewrite this. We have to multiply it by itself. And that's a really common mistake that happens is like distributing that power in. We have to write it twice. And what that does is it allows us not to lose any terms. If we just distribute that power in, we'll lose the middle terms, which we obviously need. All parts of the math problem are kind of important here. And so again, at this point now we can do FOIL or box method. And this would, I'm going to tell you guys, there's going to be a question almost identical to this on the exam. So I would highly recommend putting this somewhere, trying to remind yourself you have to write it twice. So, so we FOILed that through, or you could use the box method, and we can multiply that through and make that work. Okay? They're eating breakfast next door, and I just feel like that's like cool that we have to smell it because it smells awesome. All right, so we really don't have a ton we're gonna have to do for our homework tonight. I'm hoping some of you guys who are a little bit behind can get caught back up. So what we're doing is we're just doing 9, 10, and 11. Now, if you're like, I know how to do some of these other ones and I want to work ahead, that's perfectly fine. The whole thing's gonna end up being so our homework is now to get through 11. So I'm actually going to say 1 through 11 because you should have the beginning to, the new stuff is just 9 through 11. And so again, being careful about distributing versus adding and subtracting. Any questions there? Okay. So use your time wisely. Again, I think I have a few of you guys requested for Wednesday. If anyone's interested in coming in to improve their grade at all, let me know. Also just know that by the end of the week, I'll be requesting students for those help times on exam week. And that will be basically mostly based off of grades rather than like necessarily missing assignments. So unless you have a really crazy amount of missing assignments. All right, so you guys can get working. Obviously 9 through 11 is a little deceptive because there's multiple parts, but it's still not very long. So